All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's Lunch and Learn. Today, I am so excited for this guest. We have Julie Freed of Dallas Girl Friday, and Julie and I met during a mastermind in what, 2021? Is
Yeah,
that right? Or was it
it was actually at
2022?
the end of 2020 because I got engaged at the beginning of 2021 and then we
Yes.
had a meeting like that day and you guys were some of the first people I told.
It's amazing. That's crazy that it's been that long. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, I'm so excited. Julie is just the best. She's fun and funny and
Aw.
also so knowledgeable
More
about so much.
compliments, more compliments.
Truly a systems expert, although she's not doing as much with systems as anymore. So
No.
I'm gonna let her tell you all about what she's got going on, but you guys are in for a treat today.
Hi guys, I'm Julie Freed. I'm a former wedding planner turned systems strategist, and now I am a mom, a podcast host of the System for Everything podcast, and I'm the creator of the Entrepreneur's Death Folder. For years, I helped creative entrepreneurs kind of get their workflows and processes and backend systems in order so they could spend more time doing what they love. But over time, I realized that even the most together business owners were missing one crucial system, which is what happens to your business if something happens to you. We plan for launches, we plan for growth, we try to plan for success, but we don't plan for life to fall apart. And when I saw how unprepared almost everyone is, including myself, I knew I had to create something that could help. And that kind of started about a decade ago. My uncle emailed all of us in I have a pretty small family, but he emailed all of us because he wanted the kids to like work on this concept of a death folder with their parents. And he kind of sent us just this like Word document that just outlined, a bunch of stuff. And so my mom and I put it together, and then I reused the same template and added some more stuff to it when my husband and I got married because, I mean, my husband and I have a great partnership, but if I died tomorrow, he doesn't know what electric company we use, let alone how to go online and pay the bill or switch companies or do this and that. Um, and so I realized after getting married that I really needed something like that in my business. So I was like, okay, I'll just go buy something. And I couldn't find anything. There's so many things out there that are geared toward the personal aspects, but not towards your business. Um, and so I made it. And that became the Entrepreneur's Death Folder. And now I spend my time helping business owners protect what they've built with just in case systems that offer that clarity and comfort and control, even in the messiest of moments.
This is something that, as an anxious person,
Yeah.
at night I lay in bed and I think about, would Russell know what to do? Because he would be the person, right, that would
Mhm.
take over. And handle things. Would he know who my clients are? Would he know how to figure out how to get into Honeybook and see who my clients are to email them and be like, I those thoughts spiral in the
Yes.
dark of night, but I've yet to do anything about it. So I'm so excited
Yeah.
to be talking to you today, but also obviously this is so important for those, death or just sickness or,
Yeah.
there have been times where frankly I've had like mental health I
Yep.
wouldn't say crises quite, but where I've had times where I've needed to step back and I didn't have the capacity, and it would have been so nice to be like, can you take this and like, here's what you do. However, this isn't just for negative things.
No.
Before you got the call for your daughter, um,
Yes.
you had this in place already and it was helpful for that. Could you share a little bit about that and how it was helpful for
Yeah.
you in that time?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, when I created it, to make it kind of stand out and make people remember it, I really leaned into like the death folder and kind of that morbidity factor. The tagline of it is you built this business from the ground up. What happens when you're 6 feet under? And so it really leaned into that because it makes people kind of shocked and laugh and it makes people remember it. But the truth is, the way I've designed the folder, you can really use it for a mental health crisis. If you have someone who has chronic illnesses, I suffer from chronic migraines,
Mhm.
and there's been days where I just cannot get out of bed. Um, you can use it for a maternity leave or a long-term sabbatical if you're just taking a break. You can even use it to help train new team members if you're bringing someone on and you want to pass a lot of this stuff on to them. Because a lot of people want to wait until everything is perfect and they've got it all outlined and it's beautiful. But the reality is that systems aren't waiting for emergencies aren't waiting for systems to be perfect. Like you don't need a vault or a lawyer or like a retreat to protect your business. You just need that simple system in place so that somebody could step in if you had to step out. And what Amanda's talking about is my husband and I are the very proud parents to an almost 7 month old infant named Ellie. And we got her through the blessing of adoption. And so I didn't have a maternity leave. I didn't have 9 months to prepare and strategize and figure this all out. We had 8 hours. We got the call that we had been chosen and had to be, for reference, we live in Dallas. We had to go to Austin, which is about 3.5 hours away, and we had to be there that night. So we had 8 hours from getting the call to holding our child. And if I hadn't had things in place and been able to hand them off to my best friend, she's my person, and say, okay, these are the clients I need you to email. I need you to tell them what's going on. She had access to all that information. She could get into my email and do those things. Um, I'm lucky that I was in the middle of pivoting. So I was really winding down a lot of projects and not really taking on a lot of new things. So for me, it was a lucky situation that I was really winding down. But yeah, it could have been disastrous. Absolutely.
Yeah, to go from I'm full in, no current plans, future hopes, obviously, because you guys were
Hmm.
in the process, but no current plans to take a step back, and then boom, you're taking a step back for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
whether it's happy or maybe something that, is one of these other things we're talking about, or it's death, whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
if we're not prepared, what happens to your clients, right? What happens to the things you're working on? What happens to your income? All of these
Absolutely.
things.
And a lot of people also think that like, they don't want to do this because they think it makes them too anxious or it's too morbid. And they just, kind of want to pretend it's not happening. But like this isn't about being morbid. Like this is a generous gift. This is about taking care of your people, your work, and your legacy. Most importantly, it gives you back that peace of mind now because you are not holding all of the strings alone.
Yeah. What a great mindset shift and perspective on that about like
Thank you.
being generous to your people. Because I know one of my
Yeah.
core values is definitely like serving others and serving them well. And
Yeah.
so, like, creating this as a way to serve your people really, really well. So
Just,
that should
you know,
something
you
happen.
you think about, you see, these shows or hear about these celebrities or whatever that left, no will and they have to like untangle all this mess. And even if you are a business owner that has a handful of clients and you bring in 5 figures, which first of all, kudos, you're killing it. Like, it doesn't matter. You do not have to be a head of a Fortune 500 company to need something like this. Like, there is always going to be things that people have to untangle when you leave this earth. Always.
Mhm.
So, why not give them that gift and do that service for them because they're already grieving. They're already going through perhaps the worst thing. So, why leave even more on their plate?
Mm-hmm. I love that. So, one of the reasons
Mm.
that I've never actually done anything with these anxious thoughts is, kind of we just talked about, like, there's no urgent, like, oh, that's not
Yeah,
going to happen to me. Easy to push it off. But
of course.
another is that it feels really overwhelming. So where do we begin with like this idea of caring for our legacy and caring for our people really well with our business.
I mean, really, just take to so the Entrepreneur's Death Folder is like a fillable ebook, and it really takes you through kind of step by step and all these different components of your business, so that you can figure. Hi, I'm saying hi to a cat. I got too excited.
She's
Um,
crying, so she's just gonna be a part of
um,
it.
I love it. Um, People don't want to do this because it feels so overwhelming, but like you, this is not designed for you to do in one sitting. Like,
Mm.
don't do it in one sitting. That would be insane. Like, it is designed to do piece by piece, step by step. Um, and if you've already got a team member, like some of this stuff you can hand off to them. They should already know some of this stuff where some of your, passwords and logins and clients and workflows are, and they can write this stuff out for you. Um, so I want your next action step to feel doable and not daunting. I want everyone to just pick one person in your life that you trust. That could be
Mm.
your spouse, your friend, your parent, like a business bestie, somebody that knows the ins and outs of your business already. Just write them a short note or even just send them a voice memo and just explain how your business works. Like it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be detailed right now, just the basics. Like here is what I do, here is who I work with, here is where things live. And that's it. That is the first brick in your just in case foundation. I mean, you
Mm.
can refine it later, you can fix it later, you can build upon that, but just taking 10 minutes to take one step forward and to get out of your head is a very powerful first move. It makes everything that follows feel a little bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm already thinking of like, oh, Haley, who was also in our mastermind. I'm like, oh, she should be my person of like, uh,
Yeah.
my backup to Russell. Um, so when it comes to starting obviously the death folder, which we will link to, walks
Yeah.
you through everything. But
Mhm.
what are some of the categories of things you have to start thinking through as you're preparing for something like this?
Yeah, so kind of at the, high level of thinking, it's just a collection of that essential information that someone would need to temporarily manage or perhaps pause or perhaps gracefully wrap up your business if you were worst case scenario. It's not necessarily just a binder full of SOPs. It's really like a clarity file. And it includes things like who you serve, an overview of what you do, key logins and tools that you use regularly, a list of your active clients and upcoming deliverables, um, where your money's coming from, where your money's going to. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I have a lot of subscriptions and random things and stuff that I'm like, I would not love to keep getting billed $7 a month for that if I shut down my business, you know? Who would need to be notified? Key people. If you disappeared tomorrow, a lot of stuff on your digital legacy and your digital footprint, your website, your email list, your podcast, things like that, what would need their attention. And then, most importantly, I think it includes a plan for how that information is shared, where it lives, who has access, what kind of support someone might need to act on it. Like I always say, if my husband sat down at my desk tomorrow, my computer's off, LastPass isn't logged in, could he log into anything? Could he figure that out? Could he send an email on my behalf? Would he know what to prioritize? And that's exactly what the Entrepreneur's Death Folder is built to solve. It's a guided system that walks you through every single piece without you having to figure out what belongs. You don't have to build your own template or start from scratch. I really created it to be approachable and editable and to be a living document because this is something that then you need to go back and touch up. If you've got new clients, if you've got new deliverables, you go in and you update it so that it is a living document.
And how often would you recommend someone updating it? Like, is it something they add to their quarterly to-do list, once
I
a
would say once a
year,
quarter. That's what I
once a
recommend.
quarter? Okay. Um, Man, yeah. I mean, it's just so necessary and yet so easy to push
Hmm.
off.
Yeah.
When it
It's that's
comes,
what everyone tells me. They're like, "Oh my God, why has no one invented this before?" Like, "Oh my gosh, like everyone needs this." And I'm like, "Cool, then please buy it." Like, let's get started. Let's get people to do this.
yeah,
Let's take our fate into our own hands.
yeah, and I'm just thinking like we've got my in-laws have a whole binder of
Yeah.
stuff where they've like prepared for the future and
Hmm.
we had to sit down with them and go through all of it and they, all of their details and we not only don't have that personally, we don't have that for my business. Um, so I have an action step for this week for going and just buying this. Just doing it. What would make someone feel like they couldn't do this?
Overwhelm,
Mm,
anxiety, um, not wanting to figure out and take a look at their business as a whole, I think is something that could really stop someone because you're not having to just lay this out for yourself and say like, "Hey, husband, this is where everything is." You're also forcing yourself to write down every single thing that's going on in your business. And I think maybe some people don't want to look at that.
yeah. Yeah, it gets so messy.
Yeah.
You know, you add
Yeah.
this thing and you add this thing and you add this thing and then you're testing this thing and then yeah. But the death folder walks them through all of that, right? And makes
Yes.
it simpler for them to do that and fill it out versus doing it
Yes.
themselves. And do you recommend, I mean, is it something you like keep on your Google Drive? Is it something, how do you recommend the storage of it?
So I offer a lot of different ways you could store it, but obviously this does involve passwords, it involves bank accounts, things that you don't perhaps just want out there. You don't want them written on a sticky note. And so the way I do everything and what I recommend in the death folder is the program One Password, which is just the number one password.com. And they have several plans, and you can basically store things like in walking through all the different things, like in creating all these individual pieces, you can store them all in there, coded the way you want, named the way you want. And then you can invite people to look at certain things, some things they can't see. And, there's a key, an authentication number. And so one trusted person would have that so they could get in through your login, look at everything, see everything, act on everything. And it's
Okay.
the death folder also walks people through who are perhaps the caregivers or the people that are perhaps left behind to be like, okay, they left you this information. Here's three things you need to do, like to get this shut down or to shut this off.
Oh, that's really nice. It's not just like here's all the information in one pile. It's here's
Yes,
what
because you
this
you
person
have
needs
to
to do.
assume that somebody isn't, the team training part wouldn't necessarily be given that piece of it. They maybe just be given the SOPs.
Hmm.
And so you got to think if they're receiving that full portion of it, something has happened and they need assistance because they are grieving. They are going through something. They don't need
Yeah.
more put on their plate. And this is aiming to make less on their plate.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what would you say to someone who's like, this is great, but it's just a just in case thing, and it really only matters if something happens to me? What would you say to that?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with, health insurance or car insurance.
Mm.
You know, I basically never leave I mean, I have a newborn and I work from home. I basically never leave my home. I basically drive like once a week. Like I have to go to CVS tonight, which is like 2 blocks away. And I have car insurance for my car, like
Hmm.
because you just do. And well, also it'd be illegal not to, but you know, you have it. You have that just in case stuff. And this is a lot cheaper than health insurance these days. Um, so yeah, I mean, I can't, if somebody truly feels like I don't need this, no way, then okay,
Yeah.
good luck.
But I mean, it does more than just be available in case, right? Like it does affect having this in place makes a difference to your day-to-day business too, right?
I think so. I mean, I think having something like this in place, taking control of things like that, really knowing what you want your legacy to be, knowing how you want your business to go on, I think that makes you a better leader.
Yeah. And it also, like you said earlier, people don't want to sit down and figure out like what's happening in their
Yeah.
business, but the clarity that comes from forcing yourself to do that can
Mhm.
make such a difference to your day-to-day business and making decisions as a CEO.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have a full picture of what is bringing in money, how money is going out of your business, what you're wasting your time on. I mean, this could even be as simple as, oh, I think I need to delegate some things and hire a VA. And you have listed all these tasks and gone through all this stuff. And then you realize, wow, these are the things I can hand off. I've taken care of this part. Cool. Let me go hire somebody.
Mm, that's a cool little side effect. I like that.
Yeah.
Uh, I like that a lot, actually. Having worked with the VA in the past and just not had the capacity to manage. Um,
I have been the VA that people have hired when their business is already on fire,
mm,
and it has not gone well because they expected me to just jump in and know everything. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know anything about your business, friend.
yeah. Well, my poor VA, she was incredible, but it just got to the point where I was like, I don't have the capacity to think about what I need you to do.
Yeah.
And when I hired her, I did, and then things changed and life happened. Um, and so what a gift to be able to just know, like, this is what I need you to do without that, all of that mental capacity day in and day out.
Not just that, but you'll already have the SOP written out.
Yeah, amazing. So if someone is like, okay, I'm ready, I'm gonna
Mhm.
buy the death folder, what do they need to do before purchasing to be ready?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess have a program on your computer that opens PDF, have a form of payment. No, but really, I walk you through it from, A to Z or soup to nuts, as my mom would say.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about your podcast because
Okay.
it is brand new, just launched, and you've already had incredible guests on it. So many, but tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about it and tell us, yeah, about the inspiration behind it, the mission behind it, all the things.
So I have been like talking about a podcast for like a million years. Like since Haley met me, I've been like, yeah, what if I did a podcast? Oh, what if I did a po-" And the joke was always that like, oh, I'd do something where I like talk about reality TV. But I mean, that's so saturated. And also, I don't actually want to do that. And then I've always been obsessed with like they're not super prevalent anymore, but maybe about 10 years ago was like the height of it was like mommy blogging.
Mm,
And like I was not a mom then. I was not even married. I had not even met my husband at that point. Um, and I would read these blogs on these moms on like, oh, this is how I pack my kid for, a vacation. This is how I pack our beach bag. And I was fascinated by the ins and outs of things like that. Like that just didn't even have anything to do with me. Um, and so that was always kind of sticking in my head, like that kind of background. And then I knew I didn't want to do a fully business podcast. There's a lot out there. They're great and I love it, but I wanted something more that leaned into the lifestyle aspect. And so I was like, how do I really mix the two? Like, how do I have a show where we talk about marketing and then an episode where I talk about meal planning? How do I do that? Um, and so I came up with while Amanda and I were actually at a conference last March, Layli Amadi's Creative Educator Conference. Shout out, it's so amazing. Um, while we were there, it I kind of like just kind of workshopped this to people and just like went around and asked a bunch of people. And I was like, hey, if it was like this and then sometimes this and also this, like, do you think that'd be interesting? And everyone was like, yeah, but like also you're the weirdest person I've ever met. So like I'd listen to anything you do. And I was like, oh my God, what a compliment. Thank you so much.
No, but it's so true. In my mind as you were talking, I wasn't using the word weirdest. I was thinking funniest. But also I was like, as you asked me that, I was like, I would listen to anything you put out there, Julie, because I love to listen to you talk. You're hilarious.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. That's so kind. And yes, it's true. But but yeah, so I just kind of it came to me the name which is the system for everything. So there are no limits on this podcast to what we might do. So far, there's been episodes on the system for using the Enneagram with your entrepreneurship. I just had an interview with a girl that I have been friends with for over 17 years, and we did one on the system for maintaining adult friendships.
Mhm.
I've got stuff coming up on the system for team temperance. I've got a friend of mine that I went to college with is a professional puppet designer, like has worked on Broadway, has worked on the West End, and he built and played the alien puppet that's in the new Ryan Gosling movie, Project Hail Mary. So he's going to
Okay.
come on and talk about puppetry.
That's so cool.
Um, I've got one of my favorite authors, Jamie Varon, is going to come on. I've got, and this is all just me having the absolute unearned confidence of a white male senator, along with like my always attitude, which is like, "Eh, what's worse that can happen? They say no, who cares?" And I have gotten very lucky, and I have not gotten a single no, to the point where Haley, our podcast producer, has told me that I am not allowed to pitch anyone until Q4 because I keep getting so excited, and it's just I feel so creative. And I don't know, maybe it's just going to be something I funnel money into, and that's whatever. And maybe I have to shut it down. But if D-list Bravo celebrities can make $1 million off a podcast, why can't I? You know, aim high.
Hmm. Absolutely. And especially with your business strategy mind, like
Yeah.
I was like, you're just so funny. Like I feel like
Oh,
and I've said that a million times, but a podcast is such a great way for people to get to know you. And I feel like that
yeah.
hasn't been something you've offered people online
It really
previously.
isn't. It really isn't. And there was so much of my time, especially, I was a wedding planner up until my last wedding was in like 20, in the last, I've done weddings for a couple friends, but my last like professional wedding was in, I believe, 2019.
Mm.
I got up right before the pandemic. Got lucky there. But especially then, uh, it was very like, you don't share your personality, you don't share your views, anything. And as I've gotten older, as we've gone through the pandemic, as things in my life have changed, I've gotten married, I have a child, my business has pivoted a million times over. I just, I like letting people in. And I realized not just even for engagement and, likes value, but like the thing that I get the most likes on is when I post book reviews, movie reviews, when I talk about my child. Like I don't post my daughter online, but which if you do, that's your choice. That happens to not be mine. Um, when I just like tell weird stories that happen, because you just can't take me anywhere, folks. I'm a nightmare. But um, like when I just tell that stuff, and then that's how I get people into the DMs, and then we talk about what I do.
Right.
So that's been an incredibly valuable thing, and really leaning this past year into community and really building not just surface level friendships with like people in my industry, but what I feel are like real lifelong connections.
Yeah.
That has been so important and beyond valuable to me.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited the podcast is out there. When you came up to me at Creative Educator, I was like, Julie, I don't know why you haven't had a podcast for like 5 years now. Like this is to me, it's such a no-brainer that Julie would have a podcast, you know? Um, and so I'm thrilled that you have finally gotten it out there into the world. We will certainly
Thank
be linking
you.
that in the description, in the show notes, all the places so that people
Yeah,
can
and
check it
Amanda's
out.
going to be on it soon too, guys.
I'm so excited. And honored. I feel like
Girl,
talk
duh.
about imposter syndrome. Um,
Get out of here with that. No, ma'am. Well, hey, don't worry. Katie Mast is coming on and we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. So if you need
Amazing.
to listen to that episode beforehand, don't worry.
I
I
will,
got you.
for sure. Um, okay, you have already shared your action step, which is to determine who your one person is, and maybe even a
Yes.
second backup person to that one person. But I do not let anyone get out of here without sharing a book recommendation for everyone. And it can be business, but it does not have to be. So, what is one book that you think everyone should go and read?
You want to talk imposter syndrome? I've never read a business book.
That's amazing. I
There
love
are
you.
there are several on my shelf behind me. I've never read one.
Amazing.
Okay, books. I could probably talk about books for 4 to 5 days. I have book highlight recommendations on my Instagram highlight. I have book recommendations I give out all the time on my newsletter. Um, I'm a book junkie. I will say I basically only read like chick lit rom-coms or thrillers. So if you need the historical fiction, sci-fi recs, not your girl, happy to point you in the right direction. But my all-time favorite book, this has been my favorite book since I was in the fourth grade when I read it for the first time. And I have read it every single summer since. It is The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Juster. I mean, it is technically a children's book, obviously, but it is full of just adult level brilliance. It is about seeing the world with curiosity and imagination. And I guess to tie it back to systems, I'll try. It reminds me why systems exist in the first place, to free up our brains and hearts for what really matters. No, but seriously, I mean, it's whimsical, it's thoughtful, it's just a beautiful reset, and there's so much poignance in it, and it's just a good book. Um, so yeah, I read it for a kid as the first time in the fourth grade. If you are a child in my life who is born, you received that book at your baby shower. Like I love that book so much. It is on my shelf right there. Um, it's the best book in the world. Um, if I had to pick just like a rom-com type book, anything by Abby Jimenez or Sophie Cousins. Cousins is Cousens. I feel like Sophie Cousins is like the British Abby Jimenez, and not as many people know her. But I always love her stuff. And then, I mean, thriller wise, it's cliche, but man, if I could read a book again and not know the twist for the first time, it'd be Gone Girl. Has to be.
Yeah, that's such a good one.
Yeah. Or there is a book that has a phenomenal twist. It is called I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh. It is. It was a gasp out loud while reading.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it was really, and I am known for like knowing when things are
I
coming.
was
I'm
about
like,
to ask
oh
that.
yeah, that's it. And that doesn't make it less fun for me. I still like it. But I mean, movies, TV shows, books, always know. Couldn't have thrown a stone at this. Couldn't have predicted from a mile away. So good.
Ooh, that's exciting. I'm the kind of person that like I refuse to let my brain connect the pieces when I'm reading. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. I want to be surprised.
Oh
Um,
man, no, I can't do that at all.
my husband is like, oh, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. And I'm like, I don't want to know.
I tell my husband all the time, I'll like be reading a bit or something, and I'll be like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. And he's like, what? And I just like tell him what's gonna happen. And then in like a couple days, I'll be like, hey, I was right. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, no, 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 pretend to care. And he's like, wow. And I'm like, thank you.
My brain is magic. I love that. Yeah, my husband loves to connect the dots. My siblings do too. My sister's the kind of person that like she'll read the end of a book before starting it so that she
Mhm.
knows what's gonna happen. And we were all
That
watching.
is my mom.
I can't stand it.
Watches the end of the movie, watches like the last 10 minutes of a movie, and then gives her opinion on it. And I'm like, you watched the last 10 minutes, girl.
That's yeah, my sister loves a spoiler. We were
Yeah.
watching Ginny and Georgia um recently and she and my brother I had already seen all of it. I was forcing them to watch it. Um as a big sister does. I was like, you're gonna sit here and you're gonna like it. But they were just like, this is gonna happen. I was just like, how did you guys know that? How did you know that was coming? Like, but I am not that
Always.
person. So I am excited. I have not read that. I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh. And I will have to go for sure check that out because I love a twist.
Yes.
Okay, we will link all of these in the show notes. We will definitely link your Instagram so people can check out your book highlights as well, and of course the podcast. But if there was one final piece of encouragement you could share today, what would it be?
Um, we don't always get to choose what happens to us, but we can choose to leave behind clarity instead of chaos.
Mm,
If you have been meaning to quote unquote get your stuff together, this is your nudge. You don't have to write a 40-page manual. You just need a simple and compassionate system that somebody else could follow. And I built the Entrepreneur's Death Folder to make that process easier, faster, and I hope empowering. Because preparing for the unthinkable, it doesn't make you morbid, it makes you a responsible and thoughtful leader.
mm, I love it. Thank you so much for being here today, Julie.